Richest people in history. Today, we consider wealth as the enormous personal fortunes of major business titans. This includes Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, or Warren Buffett. But the practice of gauging wealth by one's net worth has only been common among the world's wealthiest since recent times. A person's net worth is deducting their liabilities from the value of their assets. The world's wealthiest individuals derive assets from their ownership of stock or shares in their companies. Also, other tangible assets like real estate, bank accounts, and so forth. Calculating a wealthy person's precise net worth is difficult. The current rate of inflation is not comparable to the net worth of today's richest person in the world. In today's video, we provide to you the top 10 richest people in history, from rags to riches entrepreneurs to multi-generational dynasties. Welcome to our channel, Meraki Dreamluxe, the place where your luxury visualization comes to life. If you are new here, make sure to click the like and subscribe buttons so that you don't miss any updates from us. Without further ado, let's dive in. Number 10. Alan the Red Rufus. 1040 to 1093, $194 billion. Alan the Red Rufus served as his patron during the Norman Conquest. He was the nephew of William the Conqueror. It paid off. William the Conqueror gave Rufus over 250,000 acres of land in England in exchange for aiding him in gaining the crown and putting down a rebellion in the north. Rufus was the richest man in British history. He died in 1093 with a net worth of $11,000, or a stunning 7% of England's GDP at the time. His estimated wealth in modern dollars today is $194 billion. Number 9. Muammar Gaddafi, 1942 to 2011, $200 billion. Muammar Gaddafi reportedly had a $200 billion net worth when he died in 2011. This is according to estimates that appeared after his passing in 2011. Upon his death, it's reported that the deposed leader had died one of the richest people in the world. $70 billion in cash was seized in real estate and offshore bank accounts in the months before his death. The rest of Muammar Gaddafi's wealth came from his ruthless control of Libya's oil fields. Number 8. William the Conqueror, 1028 to 1087, $229.5 billion. William the Conqueror reigned from 1028 to 1087. His well-known act was his invasion of and later conquest of England in 1066. In the year, Harold Godwinson succeeded Edward the Confessor in place of William. William invaded England in a furious attempt to enforce his claim. William was appointed King of England after the ensuing Battle of Hastings. William the Conqueror, the first Norman King of England, benefited from the war's loot. He captured territory and seized valuables from all over the nation. His tremendous riches were spent on everything he could think of. From tapestries to castles, including the renowned White Tower and the Tower of London, William left his son a bequest when he passed away that was equal to $229.5 billion. Number 7. Mir Osman Ali Khan, 1886 to 1967, $230 billion. Osman Ali Khan, the last Nizam or ruler of Hyderabad, was a man of unimaginable wealth. He was Mahbub Ali Khan, Asaf Jah V, his father's heir. His net worth is about $230 billion, making him the richest man ever in India. This is after adjusting for inflation. According to reports, Mir Osman Ali Khan lived in considerable luxury. On February 22, 1937, he appeared as the richest man in the world on the cover of Time magazine. Jacob Diamond, a 185-carat diamond, served as his paperweight. The British Princess Elizabeth received a tiara and necklace made of diamonds from the Nizam for her wedding. The necklace is known as the Nizam of Hyderabad necklace. The Queen Elizabeth II still does it. Number 6. Jakob Fugger, 1459 to 1525, $277 billion. It's possible that Jakob Fugger was the first real businessman in history. He was a banker. He lended money to kings and popes from the middle of the 15th century until the beginning of the 16th centuries. He had a variety of investments and holdings in mines, banks, and trade. He also contributed to the funding of many wars. He even helped the Habsburgs rise to prominence in Europe. He may have contributed to the Christian Reformation by lending money to Albrecht of Brandenburg. This was so that he could get a position of authority within the church, which reformers viewed as a significant source of corruption. His estimated wealth is about $277 billion. Higher estimates place his wealth at $400 billion. This would have given him a personal stake in 2% of Europe's GDP at the time. Number 5. Nikolai Alexandrovich Romanov, 1868 to 1918, $300 billion. Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, also known as Nikolai Alexandrovich Romanov, governed the Russian Empire. This was from 1894 until his overthrow and family's execution in 1917 by Bolshevik revolutionaries. Tsar Nicholas II had a net worth of almost $900 million in 1916, which, after adjusting for inflation, is equal to $300 billion today. He is on our list as the 5th richest person in history with $300 billion. Since the Russian Orthodox canonized him, he is the wealthiest saint ever. Tsar Nicholas II is the most valuable saint of all time since the Russian Orthodox Church declared him a saint after his death. He is also wealthier than the combined wealth of the top 20 Russian billionaires of the 21st century. Number 4. Andrew Carnegie, 1835 to 1919, $310 billion. When Andrew Carnegie sold his Carnegie Steel Company to J.P. Morgan in 1901 for $480 million, he amassed his enormous fortune. That translates to a peak net worth of $310 billion in current currency. When he sold his business to J.P. Morgan, Carnegie received $230 million in gold bonds in addition to a 5% yearly coupon. Carnegie never went to the New Jersey bank where the bonds were kept. After selling his business, Carnegie took a break from the commercial world and focused on philanthropy. The majority of his $30 million wealth was donated after his death. The rest was distributed during his lifetime. His name is still used today at many colleges and foundations. Number 3. John D. Rockefeller, 1839 to 1937, $341 billion. John D. Rockefeller is recognized as the richest person to ever live in the United States. He began making investments in the oil sector in 1863. By 1880, Rockefeller Standard Oil Corporation had a 90% share of the nation's oil production. This occurred after he started making investments in the petroleum sector. Based on estimates of his total fortune and a federal income tax return from 1918, Rockefeller was worth about $1.5 billion according to his New York Times obituary. This amount corresponds to 2% of the U.S. economy's output that year, according to data gathered by Measuring Worth. The U.S. did not keep official records on national income until 1932. In contemporary times, his same economic share would be equivalent to $341 billion. Number 2. Mansa Musa, 1280 to 1337, $400 billion. The legendary ruler of the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa, is generally referred to as the wealthiest person in history. Richard Smith, a history professor at Ferrum College, claims that Musa's West African kingdom was the world's largest gold producer. This was during a time when gold was particularly in demand. Smith reports that Mali produced a ton of gold in a single year. In images of Musa, he's seen wielding a golden scepter, sitting on a golden throne, carrying a golden cup, and wearing a golden crown. His estimated net worth today is roughly $415 billion in current times. Musa's extravagant spending during this time caused a financial crisis in Egypt. Musa's army consisted of 200,000 troops. 40,000 were archers. Such a sizable force would be difficult for even today's superpowers to mobilize. Number 1. Augustus Caesar, 63 BC to 14 AD, $4.6 trillion. Augustus Caesar was the first of Rome's emperors and Julius Caesar's adopted son. He ruled over one of the most powerful empires in the world and, in his own words, possessed Egypt. Originally known as Gaius Octavius, Augustus became the first recognized emperor of Rome between 27 BC and his death in AD 14. He ruled Rome as a combination of political games and military victories. To put things in today's perspective, the Roman Empire under Augustus was in charge of about 25 to 30% of global economic output. He is top on the list with an estimated worth of $4.6 trillion in today's currency. Although it was originally believed that Genghis Khan, Joseph Stalin, Akbar I, and Emperor Shenzong were among the wealthiest individuals in history, we had to omit them from the list since we lacked reliable sources about their estimated wealth. Thanks for listening. We will see you in the next video.